What's cracking like Mr. Ryan and Mr. Chris? I thought I would make you this video so that you got some easy things to refer to. I'm going to have a little look at how you can test the shoulder mobility, how you can get a little bit of release work going on, and then how you can strengthen the right areas to be able to retain that shoulder mobility. So there's two main things that we want to look at for good shoulder mobility, which is what our external rotation mobility is like and what our overhead mobility is like. A simple test that we can do for this is if we get you by a wall, first you want to test your overhead mobility. You just get your back flat against the wall, try and keep your abs tensed, and you're going to raise both your arms up and see if you can get them flat against the wall without excessively flaring your rib cage. So we're looking for me not to have a huge arch in the back. Little one is fine, but I'm looking to be like this, not like this. And in either case, if your arms can't get anywhere near that wall, then that's going to be a problem for you. The next thing that you want to test is your external rotation. So you're going to get both your elbows flat against the wall and just pull your hands right back and see if you can get both your palms or your wrists ideally flat against the wall. Again, if you have problems with either arm on this one, then there's going to be a problem. So when we are looking to try and give a little bit of mobility to that area first so that then we can strengthen it in the proper range, first thing we want to do is look at the muscles that are going to be holding back that mobility in the first place. First one is going to be the lats. The lat's job is to draw the elbow close to the body. So in reverse, if the elbow cannot get far away from the body, then usually it means that these bad boys are tight. The other one, when we're looking at external rotation, the main limiting factors are going to be the pec minor, which is a deep muscle that runs diagonally underneath the pec major, like the main pec that you can see, and the front delt as well, just there at the front of your shoulder. So if we want to get a little stretch on the go for them, then what we're going to be doing is this shit. So if we want to stretch out these muscle groups, first thing we want to do is get a rubber band and we're going to tie a knot in the end of it there. Then you're going to go over to the door frame and you want to put it in the door just above your head height. And then even if the door doesn't close over, a little knot inside the band is going to keep the door from swinging back open as long as I keep tension on the band. So I'm going to get my hand, I'm going to put it through the band and then over it. I'm going to walk back until there's a lot of tension on the band. I'm going to turn my palms up to face towards the ceiling, and I want to push my hips right back. I want to get my body in line with the band, and I'm going to lean towards my armpit. So I'm just pressing my body back and to the side there, and I should feel a great big stretch up the lats there. You want to hold on to that for 30 seconds to 2 minutes at a time. The next stretch that you want to do is going to be one for your pec minor. If you lift your arms straight up towards the ceiling, you'll see that the pec goes up and out at a diagonal line, and we want to stretch it in that way too. So if I get my arm, I put him through the band, get him over, same position as before, palms facing the ceiling. I'm going to stretch it out until there's a lot of tension on the band, and then I want to turn away from the shoulder as much as I can do. So I'm just going to turn out like that, and now I can feel a big stretch going on the front of the shoulder there. I want to squeeze those shoulder blades back, it'll help keep them more protected. And again, just hold that for 30 seconds to up to 2 minutes at a time. You want to repeat that on both sides. And then if you test your overhead range after that, you should have quite a lot more mobility. But in order to keep that shoulder range, you then want to strengthen up the muscle groups that help to stabilize the shoulder at the back there. Now, although it's the shoulders themselves that lift up and down when they do stuff, they're mainly supported by the muscles in the upper back. There's crazy amount of muscles in the upper back. You know, you're going to be looking at, on the front side here, you've got like the pec major, pec minor, the front delt, like controlling movement to the shoulder. But in the back, you're going to be looking at about 12 different muscles to be able to really control and support the shoulder when it's at these end ranges up here. First thing that you want to do is strengthen external rotation. So if you've ever seen people doing this stuff in the gyms or doing this stuff in the gyms, that's what they're trying to strengthen. They're trying to strengthen the muscles of the rotator cuff that contract when your arm is in a pulled back position. And given when you're in a pulled back position, that's usually when you're doing the bottom of shoulder press or the top of a shoulder press, or you know, even when you're doing a bench press, like towards the bottom, you're going to be in this kind of position. You're not going to be in this position. This is external rotation. This is internal rotation. Internal rotation is your weak point. External rotation is your strong point. So a simple exercise that you can do is you can just get the cables inside a gym, and you can just do this malarkey all day for 3 sets of 10 to 15 reps with a difficult weight. Or you can get yourself a thin resistance band, you just grab hold of them with an underhand grip, you get your elbows tucked in towards your sides there, pull your shoulder blades back and down, and we just pull the band apart while keeping your elbows tucked into your sides as much as we can until the band comes across your belly button. And if I'm just doing this right now, then every single time I pull that band out as far as I can do while keeping the elbows tucked in, then you're going to see the muscles, the back of the shoulder and in the mid-trapezius are going to be contracting to try and keep those shoulder blades pulled back, and it'll look something like this. You can see that every single time those bands get pulled back out there, the muscles within the shoulder are going to contract up real good. The next things that we want to do is when we're in this overhead position here, which is like where people typically get their most restrictions, when we're lifting that shoulder up, it is again the muscles inside the mid and lower trapezius that help to like stabilize that position. So if I just get my arm right now and I lift it straight up, you should be able to see that around here it's contracted. So all we need to do is apply resistance to that particular movement. If I, again, get a band just like this one, I'm going to do an overhand grip on one side, I'm going to do an underhand grip on the other, and all I'm going to do is pull the band in a diagonal direction, so it'll be like this, starting from the midpoint, just pulling straight over until I'm in that really strong overhead position, as if I'm trying to reach out to an invisible wall that is behind me. So again, if I'm doing it your way, it'll be like this. And when that's going on there, you should be able to see the lower trapezius and any of the muscles leading up towards the back of the shoulder there, contracting up real good. I would want to do that for 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions on either arm. So you could just do your 10 to 15 reps one side, and then you just swap the grip on the other. Underhand grip on one side, overhand grip on the lower one, and again, just pulling them out like that. Now, I'll send you both links for some resistance bands that you can get on Amazon. But there's one little exercise that you can do lastly, just to put the icing on the cake, which is an exercise that will give the shoulder stability all throughout a big range of motion, which is you get your band, you loop it round, or you can use like glute bands or something like that, some smaller resistance bands, get them around your wrist, put as much tension against the band as you can do, pull your shoulder blades back and down. We want your hands to be just over shoulder width apart when you're doing this, and all you're going to do is lift your arms straight up towards the ceiling, and then just lower them back down towards your hips. And then if I'm doing this, again, about 10 to 15 reps at a time, all the muscles that are around the shoulder blade are going to stabilize that scapula really well. This is going to do good for putting a lot more muscle on your upper back, but it's going to do good for keeping that shoulder health really good long term as well. If you have shoulder restrictions, if the muscles in the back there are weak, then the muscles in the pecs are going to tighten up and the muscles in the lats are going to try and tighten up to try and create an artificial kind of stability for your shoulder. The bad side is though is that if this is what's trying to stabilize your shoulder here, then as it pulls that shoulder forward, eventually in time it can compress nerves that go down the front of the shoulder, which if you can imagine, like when you get nerve damage in your gums or something like that, it can create crazy pains that like you shouldn't really be there. You need to get mad, really clicky shoulders because the bone or the humerus itself is pulled out of place, or the nerves that get compressed as they run down the front can give you elbow pain, they can give you numb fingers. It can give you a sensation of bicep tightness, like it feels like something's going to tear all the time, and yeah, it's just not very good. Now, what I would advise is that if you get the bands and you do these exercises, that you give these exercises and the stretches a good go 2 or 3 times per week. What I would personally do is on the days that you're doing all your pushing exercises, like bench press, shoulder press, anything like that, that you throw these exercises in on that day so that your back is always getting some kind of work. And then on your normal back days when you might do like pull downs, chin ups, rows or whatever like that, just do those exercises by themselves. So let's say if you're training back, like your lat pull downs, rows and all that kind of stuff twice per week, and you're doing pushing exercises twice per week, now you're going to be training your back in some kind of way 4 times per week. You get what I'm saying? Boom. If you have any questions, let us know, but try not to make it too complex. Give these little things a go and just see if it makes you feel any better. Mwah.